All right, we should be. No, there we go. So, everyone, we should be live right now. This is Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier. I am here with you on No Soundbites Allowed. It is Friday, February 11th, and we are in downtown Binghamton. As you can see, this is the county building for the Broome County, and I'm outside in 30-degree weather. Why? Because there are many of our fellow Americans who are outside with us. They are here as part of the Freedom Convoy in support of what's happening in Canada, in support of many of the protests that we have covered over the last, year and a half. And we're going to show you a little bit more of what's going on here, and then we'll be speaking with some of the people here. So, I just want, take your time. Wind's catching some of the information. And as you can hear, folks, there is support from the rest of them. Come right back to you. And so I just want you to see, and this is something that was just done over the last couple of days. This is not any kind of event that's done by any politician or group. These are just other American citizens who are here. We do also see that one of the other local news media are here with us, Mr. Bob Joseph of WMBF. So it's good to see other coverage here today. It's coverage we didn't get during the vaccine mandate protest, but you know what? It's coverage all the same to let people know what is happening in our community. And so we're going to bring some of that to you. And again, this is all live. We are taping this as well. We'll have a follow-up video later on today. We will also be speaking with Mr. Larry Sharp as one of the interviews that we do. Now, hi, ma'am.
Hey.
I know you wanted to speak with us.
Yep.
So let me start off first with, what is your first name?
My name is Linda,
Hi, Linda.
and I was in Albany yesterday.
Okay. Are you a resident of Broome County?
I am.
Okay. And so, Linda, you were in Albany yesterday. You're here today. This is the Freedom Convoy in the United States. On February 11th, it's 30 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you outside in this weather?
I think we just need to keep standing up for our rights, and particularly the rights of the kids. They're very easily silenced and not allowed to have a voice. And so I just would like to share my thoughts and what happened yesterday in Albany.
Please do.
Okay. Good morning, good morning. Thank you everyone for coming. Good morning. My name is Linda, and I've been trying to be active in movements of this kind for quite a while now. And I thought I would just share some things with you that might keep you a little better informed.
You want a bigger mouth?
I have a big mouth.
Take it, Linda.
That's what I do.
There you go.
Yell it out,
Do I have to push anything?
No, just
Yell
talk.
to the entire city.
Just talk. Ooh, this is like professional grade.
Full volume.
All right, this will be a little choppy because I had to read it off my phone because my printer wouldn't work this morning. Before I report on my trip to Albany yesterday to speak at the hearing to extend the emergency mandates, I want to offer some resources that you can try to connect with so that you can get information, just plain old information and information on other events. So there's a group called the People's Coalition for New York. They have a Facebook page, and you can link to their webpage from there. It's just www.peoplescoalitionfornewyork.org. A really good resource. They're trying to pool all the groups together as best they can. So please check that out. They also have email there. Look to join Parents Against Mandates Upstate New York. And the A's are an ampersand. 607, Fighting for Our Right to Breathe, Defeat the Mandates DC, We the People of Shenango and Broome, Binghamton, New York, Convoy Meeting Point, Mission for Change, Unmask the Kids, New York Freedom Change 2022. Just check some of those out and you can probably connect with even more groups from there. So yesterday I drove to Albany to speak at a public hearing of the New York State Public Health and Human Services Committee regarding the extension of the emergency determinations / regulations. These included control over the mask mandates, and Hochul can try to slap them back on us whenever she wants to. And I do not believe she has any intention of unmasking the kids. That's just a feeling I got yesterday. The second one was on testing and reporting to the state. And the third one was detaining and quarantining of persons determined to be a threat to public health or safety. The language of these determinations is very vague. For instance, people can be confined in temporary facilities. That leaves a lot open to interpretation, and all you have to do is see what has happened in other countries to know what is possible. The opportunity for the public to speak at these hearings is just theater. They do not listen. Most of the committee members were on Zoom, not even looking at the screen or tweeting out messages while speakers were trying to cram as much as they could into their 3 minutes of allotted time. They were unmasked and in the comfort of their homes and offices, getting paid to work in a free environment, while facilitating the firing of healthcare workers who refused to do their bidding. All manner of workers have been forced to comply with unconstitutional mandates in order to stay employed. And yet there they are, sitting in comfort with no mask. I spoke in the first group of about eight speakers. After the first round of public comment, the committee tried to reduce the allotted time to comment from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. There was an outcry as the attendees had driven 4 hours to attend. 4 hours for 3 minutes of time. We literally had to fight to keep that minute intact. We have business to conduct and have to be respectful of the committee's time, which translated to me as, this isn't just formality and we don't want to have to take time to listen to you. I spoke on the process, which they are using to circumvent the legislature to keep these unconstitutional mandates in place. And I refer to it as the true voter suppression. We have had voter suppression crammed down our throats by different media outlets, different groups. This is true voter suppression. Essentially, you're electing officials to represent us, who then in turn don't get to vote. In addition to elected officials not getting to vote, a byproduct is that the voters who put them in office now have no voting record to hold them accountable to. There is actually no accountability at all. According to New York State, it is completely legal. It'll be binding in 60 days if they approve these. This should scare the crap out of you. We are under a dictatorship and tyrannical rule. Many other speakers laid out the science as I knew they would. And one gentleman also cited previous legal cases to remind the committee that there is legal precedent regarding this process. Everything passed with no opposition. The whole experience was infuriating. The public was referred to more than once as uneducated. You gotta look up the video. And we are in an information void. The message was clear. We are stupid. And one member actually stated we need to be educated on what was right. In addition to that, that same person was spouting the false inflated COVID death numbers that we're also familiar with. I have never experienced such condescending, dismissive, authoritarian attitudes ever. We are minions. We are the inconsequential. They have no intention to listening to us ever.
Right.
We must work to free our kids.
Yeah.
We must stay vigilant, as you have to anticipate that they will mandate the miracle juice for students to remain in public school. They will use the same process to push this mandate via the state education department. Nurses will be given privileges to vaccinate children without parental permission.
Nine.
Follow the proceedings at the state level, but you must get involved at your local level. Go to meetings, speak, run for office, and most importantly, educate others. if anybody has any questions, obviously I'll be here. And if you have anything to add, that would be awesome. Thank you very much.
You got to hold the
Should, yes.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm just a mom. My name's Hannah. I live in Greene. I have a small group. We've been fighting the mask mandates from the beginning of last year. And I know a lot of you guys here are probably in the same exact boat as I am. We've all been fighting this a long time, probably. And a lot of us feel exhausted. And like, sometimes we feel like we're the only ones. Sometimes we feel like...
Bring the bull a little higher, up to your mouth.
Up here, okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes we feel like no one else cares. We're the only one who cares. And when we hear these things, when we hear the complicated and confusing ways in which our government has decided not to represent us, it makes us feel demoralized. But you know what, frankly, we shouldn't feel demoralized, because deep down, we know, every one of us knows what's right and wrong. And we know it's wrong that our children are still masked after 2 years, with absolutely no investigation whatsoever by the school, by the county, by the state level, by the federal level, to see if they were necessary, to see if they were even causing harm, which now we know they are, or see if they even are effective at preventing some sort of disease transfer. And our children have been wearing masks over their faces for 7 hours a day, for 5 days a week, for 2 years at this point. It's disgusting. We all know that deep down. We know that it's disgusting that a piece of cloth over our children's mouth that they touch all day long after touching all kinds of germs is doing far more harm than good. Right. And frankly, there's no proof it's doing any good whatsoever. And nobody has done anything to try and prove that. Every one of us knows that. And frankly, keep that. We know what's important. All of the gobbledygook from our state legislature and from our governor and State Administrative Procedures Act, this back way that the governor is trying to pass quote-unquote laws without the legislature, these are not laws. And frankly, even if the legislature were to pass a law that said someone had to put a biological agent in their body or cover their mouth and nose, frankly, that is not a law, in my opinion. And frankly, we need to get to the point where we just go with our gut because we know what's right. Let's not be confused or demoralized by all of this that's coming down from our state and, you know, every direction, frankly. And we need to recognize, yes, it's dire. Our government no longer represents us. That's the truth. That's the truth. But that's not time to give up. It's time to double down. And frankly, we are the beginning. We have, some of us feel demoralized because we've been doing this for 2 years. But this is how things start. We need to become more cohesive now, not less. Yeah. And we need to not point fingers at one another. We need to realize that we are in a fight for our lives, and this is everyone's at stake here. Our children, us, at every level. So it's time to double down. It's time to unify like never before around what we all know. That we're not going to agree on everything. Nobody's going to agree on everything. But what we do agree on is that we know deep down what's right or wrong. And we're going to stand up for it, and we are going to keep that. With 2020 vision, we're going to keep that in front of us and go forward no matter what distracting things come out of our government to try and demoralize us. Yes. And frankly, the place to start is our county level. Absolutely. We can't change everything, but we can start here and we can say, as for me and my county, we're going to follow the Constitution. So Broome County, Shenango County, we're Shenango County, I know Shenango County here. We are all going to have to stand up in our counties and say we can change what we can change, and that's where we'll start. Garner gotta go! That's right. And we actually did just start there is a county in New York who's already done this, who's passed a constitutional county resolution. It's Cattaraugus County, I believe it's in western New York. And some of us have decided here that we're going to try to do that as well. And frankly, it's not a magic bullet. There's nothing that's a magic bullet right now. There's no secret key that's going to free us. What it's going to take is every one of us relentlessly pursuing the freedom that we all were born with. Because that's what inalienable rights means. It means that nobody gave us that freedom and no one can take it away. They can violate it, but they can't take it away. So if anybody is, we just started a resolution. It starts with gathering signatures to pass the resolution, and then we go to our legislators in the county level and say, hey, do you stand with the Constitution or not? And frankly, the ones who don't, we know that they have to go. The ones who do, then we're now stronger for it. Now we have unified and we have put them on our side, and we all know we have each other's back. The sheriff as well. That's his job. He's elected by us, the people, and his job is to protect our freedoms, our natural born liberties. So, frankly, we want to know one way or the other, are you with us or against us? And it's just a step to do that, to say who's with us, who's against us, and how do we go forward. And then at that point, we decide, okay, if our rights are being violated in this way and that way, then what are we going to do about it? And there's various... That's right. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Yes, exactly. Exactly. It comes down to that. And the best way we can do that is by doing that en masse. And that's been the problem. So many of us have wanted to not comply, and we haven't complied. My son got kicked out of school because he didn't wear his mask at the beginning of the year. So, yes, good for you, buddy. Good for you. But we have to do it in an organized and cohesive way. And frankly, the only way we do that is by continuing to grow our numbers and continuing to move forward, not by pointing fingers at each other or saying, I did this and you didn't do that. We have to move forward, and we all need to keep the focus on what we know is important. And that starts right here at the county levels and with each other in our school districts from the ground up.
Oh, that's Kevin. Didn't we talk on the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
I was just gonna, when you said the no Soundbites Allowed thing, I thought I gotta talk to that guy.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So hey, good to see you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, we're still live, by the way, but we're going to talk a little
absolutely.
bit later.
Let's do that. Right.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm a veteran of the United States Army. I'm a parent of a son in high school.
Thank you.
And I'm tired of this. We pay you guys
That's right.
to work for us.
That's right.
I'm really ashamed to be an American right now because we are being abused. Abused. Violated. Our children have to walk around with rags on their face. Or don't come to school. We all know that the shot's not working. We have more cases now than when shots didn't exist.
Hold them accountable.
New York State Governor, I don't know where you came from, lady, but you need to go back. You need to be held accountable for the people who are more sick, for the people who are getting heart attacks, for the miscarriages.
That's right.
We're not looking at those. I want to know, this is what I want to know from the government. How come nobody is telling us the problems of the shot? How come nobody is telling us the problems of the mask? Anybody who knows, if you cover your nose and your mouth all day, you're breathing in your own carbon monoxide.
That's right.
So don't we, it makes you tired, it makes you weak, it makes you unhappy. Can you imagine looking at somebody, you don't know if they're smiling or crying?
That's right.
Come on, America. Come on, America. It's child abuse. The mandates are unconstitutional. What happened to our rights? They done took it. They done took our rights from us, people. We supposed to fight. I went to war to fight for our rights. Yes, you did. Here we are in America, and we not fighting.
Yes.
We need to fight for our rights.
Right.
The news people, I'm coming at you guys too. Y'all don't never say nothing negative about the shot. Y'all don't never say nothing negative about what they doing to our children. I don't know who you are reporting for, but we are the people. Since we are the people, we are angry.
Yes, we are.
We don't like this.
We are pissed off.
We need to have more people out. We need to have more Americans out. If you're shot or not shot, You don't want your rights taken from you. And that's what they doing. They telling us that they can shoot our kids up without our permission. Without our permission.
No.
Can you believe that?
No.
Can you believe that?
No, we didn't get it saying that.
Come on, people. You can do better than this.
We can.
We the people. Isn't that what they say? We the people.
That's right.
They work for us. We don't work for them. We pay them
Amen.
our taxes.
Yep.
So if we stop paying taxes, what happens? We going to jail. But they violating our rights.
Yep.
That's all I have to say, because I'm really angry. I'm telling you the truth.
Yes.
I'm emotional. I'm emotional.
Woo!
And it's sad that we allowing them. We allowing them to do this to our children.
Yes.
No
Yeah.
more. No more.
Listen, no more. We have to fight. And fight don't mean physical.
Right.
That's right.
Fight means mental. Going in pockets.
Yes.
Stop funding them.
Yes.
You people here in the county, start with you. You people in the feds, it ends with you.
Right.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight.
Hello, I'm a grizzly grandma, and I'm mad at what's been happening to my grandkids in school. And I'm gonna tell you something. Kathy Hochul acts like she works for Pfizer. She is promoting an untested vaccine approved only under EUA. There are only 2 vaccines that were fully approved, and they are not available in the United States. What they are pushing is an experimental vaccine with thousands of side effects. Follow the money. Follow the money. Who is contributing to the campaigns of people like Kathy Hochul? Number 2, on the masks. Wearing a mask is like trying to hold a virus behind a chain link fence. Kathy Hochul is beholden to the teachers' union. She is beholden to them, her voting base, and their money through their coat funds for their campaigns. She is holding the unions above the needs of the children. It must stop. It must stop. We the people have to demand that it stop. Coco needs to go. And our representatives need to stand up and stop the charade. This thing is over. And it ends today.
Kevin.
Hello everybody, my name is Rocco Luceni. I live in Cuyahoga County. I'm the host of the show, It's Called Uncensored. And first of all, I'm so happy to see so much passion out here today. So many people who are finally demanding that enough is enough. And that we are done with this persistent child abuse of our kids that has gone on for 3 school years now. We have kids who are seniors in high school, haven't had a normal year since their freshman year. People have missed proms, people have missed high school sports, people have missed their jobs, people have lost their businesses, people have not been allowed to see their grandparents. As your political leaders go out unmasked, when they are not behind the camera, they go out to Florida, they go to other countries. I've seen them in Cancun. They go all over the country to find these mandates, expecting that you follow them. And I hear a lot of people here, wondering what we do, pointing out that our government does not represent us, does not care about us. Let me tell you all something. We have to stop outsourcing our citizenship. And here's what I mean by that. Let me give you an example. This past August, when I was at the school board meeting in my hometown, we had a meeting about masks and mandated masks show up in the meeting. I was the only one who refused to do it. So were they able to throw me out? Of course they were able to throw me out, very easily. If a crowd like this showed up without masks, they couldn't throw all of us out. No more individual, usually mothers, showing up to these meetings and getting kicked out by the police, getting kicked out by the security. They can't arrest all of you. It's time for civil disobedience. It's time to break these non-existent laws. It is time for us to stand up and fight for real. And you know what that means? That you're going to have to be put in this uncomfortable situation. But that means that they're going to get uncomfortable too. And we're going to find out who's really dedicated to this. Do you care more about your children, or do they care more about putting them in chains? That's what we'll find out if we decide to take this path. If we don't decide to take this path, they will continue to run roughshod over you until we do. The answer is not some feckless tyrant in Albany. It's not even some feckless, flaccid Republican who is not going to do a dang thing to defend you. The mayor of this city is a Republican, hasn't done a thing to fight back against the mandate, and now he wants all of you to vote for him for state senate because he, essentially represents you. It's nonsense. We have to stop making it so that these people are the be-all, end-all. We have to stand up and tell them in no uncertain terms that the cost of them enforcing this is higher than the cost of us not following it. And the only way we can do that is if we stand together.
That's right.
So I implore all of you, the next time you have a school board meeting, gather a group of parents, all of you show up without masks. Not one of you, not 5 of you, 30 of you. Make them arrest all of you. They're not going to do it. And you know what? You will show that you are the ones that control your communities. Not these tyrants, not these school board members who don't represent you, not these county legislatures, that you, in fact, are the ones in charge. That's all I gotta say. Thank you so much.
Hey, Rocco. Didn't recognize you, Rocco.
Hey there, everybody. I'm going to expand on what Rocco said. You know, this is, they keep trying to make this a political issue.
Right.
And it's not. This isn't left versus right, or us versus the centrists, or wherever you fall in the spectrum. This is about you, because just as Rocco said, the Republicans don't care about you. All they want is your vote in November. The Democrats don't care about you. All they want is your vote in November. All they want is your tax money. All they want is your vote, so they can continue to run over us as they beg. So that's how this starts, just as the Constitution. We the people. It is we the people. We need to all come together across political lines, across everything. But again, if you listen to the mainstream media and the politicians themselves, they're doing nothing but pitting us against each other.
Right.
Left versus right.
That's right.
Black versus white.
Right.
Rich versus poor. We're all enemies in their eyes. They're trying to pit us against each other. And in reality, over 90% of everybody I've ever met in my life was a decent, good human being.
That's right.
And that's what we have to remember. Doesn't matter what color your skin, it doesn't matter what political aisle you come from, doesn't matter what country you come from, doesn't matter what religion you preach, doesn't matter what you do with consenting adults behind closed doors. I don't care. It's not my business.
That's right.
We all bleed red. We all have the same needs. We all should not be forced to put chemicals into our body against our will. End of story. That's it. Have a wonderful day. Stop the mandate!
Yes, all right. Oh, WSKG, okay.
Like that.
All right, folks, so as you can tell, we are here again in Broome County, New York. This is outside the county building. This is outside of the federal building. This is in front of the city building. These are the people who are speaking here. And it's amazing because today, unlike the 4 protests that took place on the vaccine mandates trying to save our doctors and nurses, None of the news media showed up for that. But today we have WSKG, which is behind me. We have WMBF walking around. We have Fox News in the background there. The news media showed up today, but they didn't show up before, because now the news media is saying, oh, well, it's all changed. The science has changed. Same giant, same science. They didn't pay attention to the hundreds of people who came out before. And as you have seen, this crowd has been growing. There's about 110, 115 people here today. So I just want you to know what's going on and how they're changing the story. But we have always reported it. Oh, wait, there's going to be more people. Hang on. Oh, wrong one.
Okay, now I have a lot of disheartening and rather negative things to say this time around. I do want to give you a challenge. I'm issuing this to everybody. When you get home, the first thing you want to do is you want to get on to the New York State Assembly and Senate government pages for New York State and look up the laws that have been presented, are in committee, are ready to move to the floor, because we do have people out there fighting for us. They have initiated legislation to prevent mandatory vaccines, to prevent this autonomous control, and they have to have companion bills between the House and the Assembly. So if there's something in the Assembly, there needs to be a companion bill in the Senate. That's how it works. So you need to look it up. The Senate bills will begin with an S and have a number. The Assembly bills will begin with an A and have a number. Once they start moving, though, to committee and the floor, the numbers might change. So you really want to get notifications on that bill, because it's easy to lose track of them because the numbers can change. So there are people fighting. Call them up, email them, find out what you can do to help. Maybe you can help, maybe you can't. We all know that it's kind of one-person rule right now, the way things stand. But I think you need to say that you fought the good fight and you've done your due diligence. So go home, look those up, and even if you just tell other people, they might not be aware. So be proactive.
Hong Kong needs to go! Yeah! Hong Kong needs to go! Hong Kong needs to go!
So I've seen a couple of questions on YouTube, and I want to answer some of those questions. Yes, we are downtown Binghamton, which is in Broome County, the southern tier of New York. Yes, the police station is right around the corner from this event. We're across from the Broome County courthouse as well. I have also received questions about 30 degrees. And we do get people who come by with some support. It's about 30 degrees. The wind is blowing, I don't know, it's 10, 15 miles an hour. You can tell by the flags in the background. It is a little windy. It's a little cold. It's a little chilly. The news media are, well, some of them have left. They're tired of talking about this. I'm still here. I'm still covering it because the people are still here and they're still making their voices heard. And like I said, last count, it's about 115, 125 people. So I hope that answers some of the questions that people have been asking. They've been here since about 10:45. I started recording about 10:50, thereabouts. It was an event scheduled to start at 11 a.m. The news media started showing up generally about 11:30, I believe. I wasn't looking at the time. Thereabouts. So they showed up after the fact, and I'm actually surprised they showed up because there were 4 vaccine mandates that I covered from beginning to end in the southern tier of New York. Over 1,000 people came out. Not one of these news media agencies that are here today showed up for that. But they're here today because now the politics changed, and so they're covering it. It just tells you something. But again, I just want to answer some of the questions that I'm seeing on YouTube as I am covering this, and I will go back to the coverage. Oh, hey Rocco.
Sign just bumped your camera a little bit. I don't know if you have a shot that you were trying to get.
Yes, there is. But by the way, Rocco, was there anything else you wanted to say? I'm still alive, so yeah.
You know, just that.
Well, no, stand in front of the camera. Stand up a little bit so I can get you.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing in terms of, I think that I really made my main point about what we should do about the facts in my speech. But then there's the facts themselves, and the fact is that the mask mandate went into effect on December 13th, 2021, and almost as if God saying he will not be mocked, cases spiked immediately after. Cases spiked to an all-time unprecedented high, more than 450% higher than the previous all-time high in New York. And this happened within the 2 weeks of the mask mandate being re-implemented in mid-December in New York State. So these people have never, which also, given that 84% of our adults are fully vaccinated, just shows you how well the vaccine works in terms of stopping transmission, in terms of stopping people from getting COVID. And we also hit our all-time hospitalization and death highs in this state during this winter cycle, even though we have this high vaccination rate and this mask mandate. So it's very clear, it's abundantly clear that none of this stuff worked, and that this was all a mechanism for social control. And that's why I said to the crowd here that it's not about the technical advice, it's not about the facts. The facts are very clear. It's about our willingness to fight back at this point. People act like it's you either vote for a factless Republican or you go right to some crazy, insane, violent solution. That's not true. There's this whole middle ground called civil disobedience, and that's where we need to be right now, and that's what they've done in Canada to affect change in Canada.
I'm glad you brought that because that's the truckers, and that's kind of what's been making this happen across the country. Is that why you're here?
I've been here since May of 2020. It was the first time I came to one of these rallies, so I'm very proud of them, but no, it's not.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah.
All right. Hang on, there's someone else going.
They don't. It's bad for business. Whenever we can make this illegal mandate bad for the business owners, they will sign on business. Look what's happening in Canada right now. The only time we really got the press is when they blocked the Ambassador Bridge. Oh, economy, they said, was going to be affected. The only way this stops is if we stop it by not complying. Absolutely not. Hey, guess what? You can always go to another store. You can always go online. You can do so many different things. It all starts with no. No, I will not. I haven't worn a mask since this day began. Since this whole thing. What did they tell me? You have to wear a mask. I said, no, I'm not going to wear a mask. Our children are suffering. Our gender culture is suffering. We simply just have to say, what? What do we have to say? No. What do we have to say? No. What do we have to say?
No.
What do we have to say?
No.
No more! No more! No more! No more! No more! No more! Stop it! Stop it, these criminals! Pay attention! Criminals! We refuse to comply. No one gives us our rights. No one can take away our rights. And our children. God help those that hurt the little children.
Amen.
God help those
That's right.
that
Come on.
parents, all human beings. We are here for our children. These criminals do not understand that. But we do. We will
will not comply no matter what.
Amen. Yeah. Who did that? I knew it. Come on.
Good idea, we failed.
Yes.
Where are you posting?
It's live on No Soundbites Allowed right now. With an I. No Soundbites Allowed. It's live right now. And I've been doing this for 15 years. I covered all of the mandate protests, and pretty much all the major media in the area know me. So what they don't cover, I do. I'm surprised to see them here today. Allowed. Mhm. Come on.
There you are.
Of course. Oh, no problem. Did you find it? Oh, good. Okay, folks, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to fix my camera. So I have multiple cameras that I use. I'm using this one for streaming. I was using that one as a backup for some other material. And of course, it seems like something just went down on that camera. Technology, what can you do? But that's why I have backup and backup and backup. Because I want to make sure that we get this covered for you guys, that we get everybody in there, you know? And we let people know what's going on. You know, that we want to make sure we get all this covered. Because how often do you get to see this? Well, I can tell you that you've seen this, well, 4 times before with all the vaccine mandate protests that occurred in 2021 that the news media didn't want to tell you about. And you've heard them say, well, it's because of Canada. No, this is something that's been happening in every country around the world. In France, there were 250,000 people throughout the summer that were protesting every week about the vaccine mandates and the mask mandates. That was every week. That was in France. We saw that in Australia, people were protesting. We saw in Arizona and in New York City and New York State, people were protesting all throughout the last 18 months. But, you know, the news media didn't want to tell you about that. But now that the economy has been affected, now that they cannot deny that Canada has been closed down, that our border has been shut, that this is affecting car manufacturing and some of our trade goods, well, now they have to say, well, it's something that's new, it's real, it's never happened before, this is so shocking. No, American citizens have been doing this for a long time, but the major news media didn't want you to know that story. They didn't want you to think about this and to say to yourself, well, does it make sense? We just heard from Johns Hopkins in a accredited report. Everything that the government has done has failed. It was a bad idea. Lockdowns, 0.2%, what was 0.2% effective? Masks, 2.9% effective. They're not effective. They did everything, just about everything wrong that they could do in this pandemic, and they did it all at the cost of your rights and your freedoms. Now, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not telling you what you should or should not do for your body and the choices that you should make with your medical professional. That's up to you. That's not what this event is about. What this event is about is making sure that you're able to properly evaluate what is good for your health and what's good for your rights. That's it. You should know how to make that choice. You should be given all the information so you can make that choice. And that's why these people are standing out in 30-degree weather with, it looks like, gusts of wind at about 10, 15 miles an hour. So the wind chill's below freezing. They've been out here for an hour at least. And they're here to speak to you. And the news media is going to chop this up. Watch your evening news tonight. They're going to give it a minute, maybe a minute, 30 seconds. They're actually going to show you video of these people, maybe 5 seconds. They're going to chop this all up. This is one of the few places you're going to see everything that has happened from beginning to end, because the rest of the news media doesn't want you to see that. That's what we do here at No Soundbites Allowed. That's why we do this. This is why I am the Dragon of the Southern Tier. And the rest of the news media, who know me well for many years, they don't usually like to cover where I'm at, because I make sure you know what's going on. WMBF, Fox News, WSKG, they could have been covering this story for literally the last 8 months that I have been covering, for the last 8 months of what's been happening in this community, and they did not. You should ask them why they don't have coverage of everything that's been happening since the summer. You should ask them where they are. Where did they go? I know it's cold. The people are here. Where'd the rest of the news media go? Where'd they disappear to? Well, let me give you back to some of the people who are here at this event today. So I'm still alive. Is there anyone else who wants to say something to me or wants to get on live? Just in case you do, just let me know.
Unmask our kids.
Nope, let me say, sorry, I was turning.
Unmask our children. God over government fear.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, I just want to make sure that people get to hear your voices without being chopped up by the news in a minute and a half.
That's right. That's right.
So it's not too surprising, folks. I know someone's going to say, well, Mike, the crowd looks a little bit thinner. What's happened? It's 30 degrees. It's February 11th. It's cold in upstate New York. It's cold out here, especially when there's a wind. So yeah, some people have gone. Again, the event started at a little bit before 11 a.m. and news media showed up after that. I'm kind of glad. I'm sure they'll give it a minute and a half on instead of actually covering the whole thing. But you know, I want you to know, at the peak there looked to be about 150 people by the quick count that I was able to make while people were speaking. 150 people came out in 30-degree weather for your rights, for your freedom. Absolutely. Oh, well, actually, I got to ask, you got a parent here? Oh, who's that? I just need her to tell me that it's okay to put you on camera because you're young. Okay. So I just need a parent's permission.
What's that?
I just need your parent?
Yes.
Garden? I just need your permission that I can actually photograph her.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Stop the jabs.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, it's just one of those legal things. Like if I don't do that, they will pull the whole thing down and go, "Oh my God, you're so bad."
I understand that. I think she wanted to say something too.
Okay.
I'm a 12-year-old and I still haven't been able to go to school with my friends. And I feel like this mask mandate and this vaccine mandate is trying to take me and my friends away. On my other side, it says, go away, mask mandates and vaccine mandate forever.
I know that's not.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I hope you get to hang out with your friends again, because that's what you should be able to do.
No, I have asthma. And I also have medical. You need the microphone.
There's a microphone right there. Just hold down the trigger, the black one. Just hold down the trigger.
Put the switch to talk on the side.
Yep, that's it.
Now I have asthma, and I also have medical attention that I got a few days ago. And just the thing that infuriates me and my entire family is that my school isn't accepting my medical exemption. Now I know it might have sounded short, but anybody that wants to add on, just anything that schools or businesses aren't accepting.
There you go. Hey, America, listen. These are your children speaking. Listen.
I went everywhere, to Convoy, to the Hartford Fair this summer. I went everywhere without a mask. And I have asthma, I have ADHD, and I got anxiety and depression from this. I've been everywhere without a mask, but every time I go to a doctor's office, they force me to wear a mask, and I don't wanna. I want this mandate to go away forever. Who else would like to say it to the mic?
Good job. Good job.
Put it down there. There you go. Good job.
Good job, Max. Good job.
Hey, Kathy Hochul, did you hear the kids? It's called science. Listen to them. So I'm just making sure people know what's going on. This is the stuff that the rest of the news media, they went home. The rest of the news media is not here. Just me and my camera making sure you know what's actually happening. The rest of the news media won't have that on tonight. They wouldn't show you even if they could.
Okay, so we had a few kids come up, and I don't know about you all, but when I see and I hear how all this has affected our kids over the last 2 years, I've seen it in my house. I know you all have seen it too. I've watched kids literally come unglued, melt down. They don't know what to do. They've been isolated. They're trying to learn remote. They're not getting proper instruction, and all this craziness at school. Oh, you might have been exposed. You might not have, whatever. And I know people that are on there, I don't know, 20 quarantines so far this school year because some kid might have had something. And we're wondering why the kids aren't learning anything. And then we're wondering why kids are having these emotional problems and other problems. I mean, come on, look around. They don't know which way is up. We don't know which way is up. We're supposed to be the adults. We're supposed to be telling them what's going on, and we don't even know which way is up because they change it every day. So what are we supposed to tell our kids? How are we supposed to help our own kids? I don't know. As a dad, that breaks my heart. It kills me. So that's why we're here. This is what we need to help our kids. Up for freedom! This is what we can do to help our kids. We need to stand up toe-to-toe for our kids and not back down. That is why we're here. This right here, civil disobedience, is the only way we're going to get anybody's attention. Look at Canada. Canada is finally backing their stuff up just a little bit. They're at least given it a second thought because they went up and they got in Trudeau's grill. And that's why we're here. We need to do the same thing. We need to stay on them the way they stay on us. Because, and here's the other thing to remember. We might get them to back up and back down and slow down, and they will if we keep pushing back. But that's just long enough for them to stop and regroup and come at you from another direction.
How many races that went this summer, 2021, were done by a dozen boats or less? These people have
Right. So, Mike brings up a very, very good point as well. Another way we can use to get to these officials. Now, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. He was mentioning to me that how many of these local small races, there's school board races, there's little small judicial
county races,
little county and small town races that are, we're talking races that have a dozen, 2 dozen votes and less, handfuls of votes. So, if we are smart as a people and we coordinate together, we can go in and we can put people in those positions. All you got to do is run a very small race, get a dozen of your friends to go vote for you instead of the other person. And next thing you know, we've changed government at a local level, which is where we need to start. And then if we can start, we can get people on school boards, we can get people in small places in local city and town government that are just unopposed races that just fill slots and whatever. That is how we can affect change as people. We need to get, government was supposed to be people like you and I, not career politicians, not career lawyers, not career this, career that, living off our dime. It was supposed to be men and women that wanted to represent their constituents. The people that elected them. That's who they are supposed to represent. And not these garbage, oh, let's do a poll on Facebook of my constituents. And then maybe I'll vote with you, maybe I won't. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Akshar. Mr. Joke, fake shark. Lied right to my wife's face and said he was not going to vote for something that he did. One of the places that all this started, the vaccine mandate that took a lot of kids out of school. Lied right to constituents' faces. Oh, I would never vote against medical choice and medical freedom. And what did he do? Look at his voting record. That's another something else another lady brought up. We need to look at these politicians' voting records. We need to hold them accountable. We need to hold our government accountable for all of this. We need to stay on top of them and remind them that we elected them in to affect our wishes, not theirs, not their gains, not representing their big dollar donors. We should get rid of all this big money in politics. Politics should be people that want it, beating the street, pounding the souls, knocking on door to door, wearing out the soles of their shoes, talking to the constituents and earning my vote. You need to earn my vote. It's not expected. It's not demanded. It doesn't matter what political party you are. You need to earn my vote. And you don't earn it by keeping my kid in a face diaper. Especially when we know that they don't really do much of anything.
They don't work.
It does nothing but, okay, if I sneeze, it might keep my stuff to myself. Well, guess what? So does this. Hey, I just did the same thing a mask does. And I think my grandma taught it to me when I was about 4. Anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox. But we will not comply. Mandate, no more mandates.
No more mandates! No more mandates! No more mandates! No more mandates! No more mandates!
Okay, what time is it?
Mandate!
we got Larry to get ready for. Alright folks, so I've been here for an hour live with you, giving you more coverage and more access to your fellow citizens, talking to you about an issue that affects us all. And your opinion matters, your voice matters. As was mentioned, there are more than enough people right now at this event to change elections at the local, county, and including the federal level. Remember, the 2020 congressional race in New York 22 decided by less than the number of people that are here right now. Think about that. Not just regular races, not just the local sheriff, not just the local DA. Congress was decided by a number of votes less than the number of people that are out here right now. Politicians should pay attention to that. They should pay attention to their constituents who have been speaking. You think this was a lot of people to come out February 11th in 30-degree weather with a 15-mile-an-hour wind? Politicians, where were you during the summer when we had hundreds of people come out because the weather was okay and they could? Where were you then? Oh, then you didn't want to pay attention. Now, with Canada and Germany and France and Australia and New Zealand and the rest of the world complaining and saying this isn't worth it, that these mandates have not been the best thing for us. Now that we have the science confirming what people already knew, well, now you want to say, oh, I'm so concerned. Yeah, you should be, because this is more than enough people to unelect almost any politician in New York State. That just should say something. And I'm just letting people know that's the reality. You have the power. You've always had the power. That's what the Constitution is about. That's why you have rights by birth, not by government. They like you to forget that sometimes. And the news media doesn't like to cover everything that's gone on, because they're going to frame this any way they want to. But as you can see, this is peaceful. This is organized. These are people just like you. Veterans, black, white, all the races, all the different types of people. Americans just like you in your community. They may try and spin this all kinds of ways, but the fact is, it's just Americans. And they deserve to be heard. And that's why No Soundbites Allowed made sure we were here to let you hear their voices. And a little bit, and in about 2 hours, we're going to be, actually 3 hours, we're going to be having Larry Sharp, who is running for governor, has gained 6% on the Zogby poll. He's a third-party candidate, and we're going to be interviewing him so that you get to know what's going on. 14 years. We have been interviewing candidates for 14 years. Candidates of every party, every political ideology. We interview them so that you can make a decision that is informed and best for you. I hope you catch us when we are speaking with Larry Sharp a little bit later, as I said, at 3 o'clock today. And I hope you get to see, I hope you'll be happy that we covered an entire hour when the news media is going to cover a minute and a half. Well, folks, I want you to be well. I want you to stay warm, stay healthy, and I will see you again very, very soon.